So this is a beginner watercolor tutorial on how to mix watercolor the right way. I'll use a 6 primary palette, which will help me create beautiful secondary and tertiary colors. You don't need 50 hues in your toolbox. You only need several. So let's get started. And if you have any questions along the way, let me know in the comments and I'll answer those for you as soon as possible. Enjoy. Color mixing basics, a very important lesson to understand some basic color theories. I will start with introducing you to the 6 primary palette. Back in grade school, they told us there were only 3 primary colors, but truthfully, to mix color well, you're going to need 6. Basically, not every blue and yellow make a good green. I will prove that later on. Let's turn our attention to the chart I have drawn out. So I have my circle, and up top, I have a smaller circle. The Y will stand for yellow, the R will stand for red, and of course the B stands for blue. So I have a smaller circle for each of those primary colors, and I've drawn a line down the middle. On one side is a C, which stands for cool, and the W on the other side will stand for warm. More on this as we move forward. You will always start with a clean palette. If you have other colors on your palette, it's going to taint our hues. We don't really want that for this exercise. Let's begin with our yellows. Again, we had the C on the left and the W on the right. On my palette, I have 2 yellows. One is a yellow ochre, which I am using right now. The yellow ochre is a warm yellow. And the cad yellow lemon, which I'm using now, is my cool yellow. And you're asking, well, why is that? That's because yellow ochre has more red in it. So when you compare that to the cad yellow lemon, you can kind of see that. So that makes the cad yellow lemon my cool yellow, which I will put in its appropriate place. And then I will clean my brush. This will give me more control and the best results. Now that it's clean, I can use my yellow ochre. Be sure to leave a little gap in between the hues. So we don't want these hues to mingle with each other. We want them to stay separate. So now we can compare those side by side and see that these are both yellows, but they're very different. This will come in handy later on. Now let's look at our reds. I have alizarin crimson and cad red light. My alizarin crimson will be my cooler red, and that's because it has a little bit of blue in it. I will place that alizarin crimson where the C is in my red swatch area. Then I will take the cad red light and place that in my warm swatch area. Again, leaving a little gap in between so that they don't mingle. Now we come to the blues. My 2 blues are ultramarine and cerulean blue. Ultramarine, which I'm pointing at now, is my warmer blue. And that's because ultramarine has a little bit of red in it. So I will mix up a thin wash of that ultramarine blue, and then add that to the W where the blue swatch area is. As you know now, I will use the cerulean blue, which is my cooler blue, and then add that to the C. As we look at these primaries, we start to notice a difference between all of these hues. Even though they may be reds and blues and yellows, they're all different. So these are the 6 primary hues I will be using in this class, which also happen to be the main colors I use all the time when I paint. Now let's do the secondary hues. Starting with orange. In order to mix the best orange, I will use my yellow ochre, which is my warm yellow, and then my warm red, which is my cad red light. Mixing an equal amount of these 2 will give me a good start. If I need to adjust the color, I can always add more yellow or more red accordingly. So that will give me my orange, which I am adjusting here, and then I can move to my violet. So to mix a good violet, I want my cool red, which is alizarin crimson, and my warm blue, which is my ultramarine blue. I will mix an equal amount of those and do the same thing. I'll put my swatch down, and if I needed to adjust that, I would just simply add either more blue or more of the alizarin crimson. So now for my optimal green, I want to mix my cool blue and my cool yellow. So my cerulean blue and my cad yellow lemon should do the job just fine. Again, an equal amount of these, and if I need to tweak it, as you know now, you can just add a little more blue or a little more yellow. So by using the correct primary hue, we were able to mix these secondary colors. Now we have tertiary hues. So these are colors in between the primary and secondary colors. So we will start with our orange, and we have a yellow orange. So basically I have my base orange there. In order to mix a yellow orange, I will just simply push a little more yellow into that mixture. And then I get to my red orange. By now, I'm sure you're getting the hang of this, but I'm going to talk my way through it so I don't leave any guesswork for you to figure out on your own. I will add a little bit of my cad red light to that base orange until I get something that pushes it more towards a red orange. Now I get to my violets. I want a magenta, which is also considered a violet that has a little more red in it. So to push that more towards a red, I will just add alizarin crimson. To make a blue violet, I will just simply push that by adding more ultramarine. That brings us to our greens. So I want a blue green, so I will add a little more cerulean to that base green, and that'll give us a beautiful turquoise color. And then a limey yellow green by adding a little more of the cad yellow lemon. So those are the best tertiary hues we can create, but no, none of that will be possible unless we use the 6 split primary color mixing theory. That was a mouthful. Here I'm mixing ultramarine blue and yellow ochre. That simply doesn't make a good green. It makes a good gray, but not a good green. The little green swatch up top, I used cerulean and yellow ochre, which didn't work too bad if you want something a little more earthier and gray. So now let's try a violet. I'm going to use cad red light and ultramarine blue. And yuck, that is a lovely gray, but certainly not a violet. So short and sweet, to the point, right? And the whole idea is that this eliminates a lot of fussy colors and color mixing for you in your journey. If you want to learn more about how I approach watercolor, how I approach the characteristics of watercolor painting, I've got great courses that really eliminate the guesswork, take you through a great system, step by step, easy to follow. Those links are in the description. If you have any questions about something specific, never hesitate to ask. That's what I'm here for, okay? Happy watercolor painting, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.